I guess we're going to get into something a bit more interesting.
What's more interesting?
Not like that boring shit we
back.
talked about on the podcast.
A reader, Aldgate, sent in a link to a study that was performed on the whole video game violence thing.
Right.
This has been going on
Is this
forever.
the funny one?
No.
There's two recently, though.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one that I thought was interesting that popped up yesterday. Was University of Oxford, according to them, if the structure of a game or the design of the controls thwarts the enjoyment, it is not the violent content that drives feelings of aggression.
The incompetence.
It's the shitty controls. So
get good.
So a lot of studies have proven that violent video games don't make you more violent, but they heighten aggression.
They can heighten temporary aggressive behavior and decrease helping behavior.
Yes.
That, however, when those studies come out, I'm always frustrated with them due to their lack of context, because similar results can be achieved with violent television, violent music, and basically anything that'll get you like really pumped up.
There's a thing that I really like called the Jackie Chan effect, and it was from another study, and it was the premise that after you go see a Jackie Chan film in a theater,
you feel like you want to jump off a thing.
And you feel aggressive almost.
Okay.
And it's the same principle.
You're hopped up on goofballs.
I can say first person that I've
Goofballs.
left our local barcade after Assault Street.
Oh yeah, and you're like
really fucking pissed on the way home, you know.
For sure.
But
gotta take a cab.
But in this case, like the thing is this too is I've debated the whole video game violence thing so much with my family and friends of family and like extended groups. Like it's a big topic. That
it was my final when I graduated CEGEP for my social program. It was my final essay that I did on this.
I did that
and
too.
You know
actually,
what? And every time a shitty school shooting happens, you have to become the spokesperson again.
Every time.
Go dig up those articles that you had saved and point to those papers. Right?
The current,
but she played Dark Souls.
The current thing is that all data is inconclusive over long-term periods, and in fact, societally, crime is down. Violent crime, in particular, is down. However, that may, in actuality, be a result of reduced lead content in the air. Nothing to do with society, media, or policy.
Crime in Japan is down as fuck, and they have the most games and the most dense population.
But Pat, we're studying trends and we're putting up bracket ends, and when you do that to your data, guess what happens?
That's weird.
Maybe if everyone just played Monster Hunter, we wouldn't blame games anymore.
And it's like
they would be all ready to fight monsters if they showed up.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's like it always frustrates me because this research is always incredibly narrow. It's narrow. Like research has to be narrow, but it's narrow to the point of like a day.
We took 13-year-olds and had them play Grand Theft Auto 5.
How many people, what's the sample size of people playing video games nowadays? Like millions and millions and millions of people? You need a huge study. You need like 1,000 people. Okay? You need to study them as a life longitudinal study over 20 years.
And video games we aren't at that point yet.
And you need to cross-reference that with a representative sample size of people who never play games in their life. And that research is now almost impossible because everybody plays video games.
And it's not worth putting the money into because it's almost been agreed on that it's inconclusive.
That's why I found this particular thing interesting, because every week we could possibly talk about a new study that says this or that. But this one, basically the researchers went in with the hypothesis, not the hypothesis, but with the statement that we need to have more sophisticated approaches when we're looking at video game experimental data.
It's a complex system in which there are so many variables.
Yeah, so you can't just read one aspect of it and say video game contains violent content, therefore result. Right? So what they did was they said, how much do the mechanics per se work into it?
What part of the game breaks it up?
Exactly. And so what they did was they had groups that were broken up into people that were playing Half-Life 2.
Regular ass Half-Life 2.
They had people that were playing Half-Life 2 modded so that it was non-violent.
Yeah, you were tagging enemies. There was no blood.
You were tagging enemies, and they were just kind of evaporating, like, oh, you got them, type of thing.
It's clever.
And then they had the same two. Then they had the original and the modified for janky shit fucking controls
with no tutorial.
With no tutorial on both sides. So
that's a good one.
Bad controls and no instructions on how to play the game.
And the aggression was substantially higher.
Unbelievable. And in both cases, it doesn't matter how peaceful the game was.
It was the mechanics breaking.
The crux was the aggression came from the fact that it felt unfair.
Nice.
Yeah,
right.
And that was more statistically significant than any presence of violence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you are in a situation where you don't have control over the outcome, or you don't feel like you had a fighting chance at it, that's going to make you way more aggressive than just seeing a depicted violence.
And I don't blame researchers in the past that have had this problem, because when you're researching, like you do, these media researches on effects are relatively similar between media. Books, music, television. You show them the fucking thing. You show them the weak sauce version of the thing.
Right.
You record your results.
Exactly.
Because they're static. They don't change between the viewer.
Yeah, and iteration is how you construct these kinds of
But
studies.
games,
But
there are a complex system within their own right with all these different variables, and so this is actually a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah.
So no, Dark Souls didn't create the Craigslist killer because Dark Souls is a good game. Shitty games are responsible.
Imagine a guy goes in, he sees this violent movie, and the guy kills everyone and shoots everyone perfectly, whatever, and he's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then another guy watches a movie where there's this guy with guns and a sword, and he's bumping into walls and falling over things and can't get a ladder to go. And he's just like, fuck this movie, I'm so pissed. God damn it.
No,
I'm gonna kill some people.
David Cage has hurt more people than Postal.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Absolutely.
I'd agree
with that.
Postal's
Are you serious?
Somebody just pulled out some sound files out of Beyond Two Souls and found out that the bar scene was originally intended to go all the way with its
my God!
But I mean, like, worse than Postal?
Spoiler alert, sorry.
It's fine, I know what was gonna happen.
There are audio files of Jodie asking Aiden why didn't he stop them.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah, the whole way.
When you say audio files, you mean she recorded voiceovers?
Yeah, like why didn't you stop them?
David.
David, you were
worse than Postal?
Yeah.
Because it's got worse controls.
Where you stick a cat's butt on your gun as
Cat
a silencer?
silencer.
See, that's farce. There's a difference between bad satire and farce, and what is an attempt at a realistic portrayal of the story.
I get you. Just like Postal's pretty tasteless.
Oh, it's absolutely tasteless, but I don't think that there was damage done due to Postal.
No, but just the study that, like, it's like some people that were looking at this went, hold on a minute. Does the content and build and make of the game matter, or is it just seeing violence everywhere? You know, if you were playing a DDR game where, like, children were dying as you landed on the right score, you know.
That being said, we love to defend games here, but there is a small subset of the population in which video game violence absolutely affects them long term.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
And there is a proportion of the population that is suggestible to this kind of media and is malleable.
Yep.
The kind of kids that you hear about. I remember when Power Rangers came out, there were some German kids that beat a school kid, one of their classmates to death with rocks because they were playing Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, there are people out there that cannot handle this shit.
And
literally, they've got issues.
And there is a relative argument to be made that of those people, the games would affect them the worst.
Yes,
and
because of the interactivity.
And chances are those are the same people that read Catcher in the Rye, think they're Holden Caulfield, and go kill a beetle.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the media is per se, but they are totally the type of people that are susceptible to that.
Yeah. There's no test for that, to my knowledge.
Unfortunately,
that kind of applies
because
to all walks.
It's probably the sociopath test, though, come to think of it. Don't be sociopath, kids. Or psychopath now. They changed it.
You might want to stop both.
Yeah.
That's confusing. Why'd they do that?
Psychopath doesn't exist anymore. It's now sociopath.
They changed... No. It used to be the other way around, and they changed it.
The DSM switched it back?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
God damn it! Fuck!
I can give you current news.
This shit is hard to follow, and I went to school for this shit, and I can't follow it.
My girlfriend is more up to date.
Yeah,
on
you're
that
right.
stuff.
You're right. You're totally right. God fucking damn it! That's so confusing.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
Just call him a psycho and be done with it.
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Layman's psycho.
We don't have to be supportive. You're a psycho. No, that's not true at all.